All right, welcome back into another episode of Indiebnb. Today, I'm joined by one of the most unsung heroes of Indiebnb, Sarah Avrin of Charm School Media. Sarah, how are you on this wonderful Thursday?
I am great. It's really great to be here and nice to put your face. Well, I've seen your face a bunch while I watch these, but put your face to the name.
Yes, it's awesome. So, a little background. I think if I'm, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think that I reached out to you about Le Tigre, and I think you were like, "Hey, like I don't know, they may not be a great fit, but here's another band that you guys should interview." I think you switched us over. I cannot remember who it is that for the life of me though. And on the first one we ever did
Yeah,
together,
I can't remember. We've done so much together.
yeah.
It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah. So a little background. So I reached out about Le Tigre. We did a different interview with one of the other bands that Sarah works with, and we kind of built a relationship. And she is actually responsible for a lot of the music that has come through our podcast. Along with the other ones that I'm sourcing myself for the interviews. But Sarah's been a real driving force throughout the years. So I'm glad that we've been able to bring a lot of new ears to some artists and some new ears to some people that are over on your side of things. So I wanted to start by saying, hey, I appreciate you working with me throughout this whole time, and but I want to kind of take a step back with you in PR and Charm School Media. Like you've been in this business for a while, and you've probably seen a lot. So I want to kind of hear from you what made you want to start Charm School and instead of being in one of those bigger firms that you maybe worked at in the past.
Yeah, so I started my career at Girly Action Media, and I was there for about 15 years. And that's the only job I've ever really had aside from, being a waitress or, those kinds of things. I was mentored by the owner, Felice Ecker. She's amazing, and I still have a great relationship with her. And I really just wanted to grow. That's all. I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to experience something new, experience something different, take on new challenges. So, I definitely thought about all the different options that you could do. Go work somewhere at a label, go do something totally different in terms of like maybe joining a larger like technology company that hires publicists, all
Yeah.
kinds of different things. And ultimately I decided, I really love what I do. I really love the art, the artists and the types of artists that I get to work with as an indie. And although Felice really did give me a lot of reign, a lot of say in the artists that I worked with when I was at Girly Action. Now I fully get to pick and choose whoever I
Yeah.
want to work with, and do my own A&R, and it's been really exciting. So, this sounds crazy, but I had never sent an invoice in my life because Girly Action handled all of that.
Yeah.
So I learned how to just invoice, just like little things like that sound so like mundane and obvious I had never done. So it's been a really great learning experience, to just be my own boss.
I love it. I love it. And when you cultivate your client list, is that through a ton of relationships you have? Like where did that kind of start? Because you had to start with at least one or two that were like, hey, I'm moving on from Girly Action. I want to get over and start my own thing. Like, how did that work?
Yeah, so there were a lot because I was at Girly Action for 15 years. There were quite a few artists that I had worked with for quite a few years.
Yeah.
So, my boss and I worked together to have those conversations with the art. My old boss and I worked together to have those conversations, and ultimately, a handful of artists did decide to come with me, which was really exciting. That includes L7 and Kathleen Hanna, and then of course her bands, Bikini Kill and La Tigra, Palehound. I'm probably forgetting very important names right now, but I'll just say those for now. And I guess Of Montreal is one that I'm working on right now. Has a new record out just next Friday. So yeah, that's just kind of how it went. And the cool thing, even with working with Kathleen Hanna, at that moment, or like knowing that I was going to get to continue working with her, was that one of my goals also was to expand beyond just working albums. Like that's the bread
Hmm.
and butter, and I love music, and that's ultimately what I want to be doing. But at that moment, she was working on her autobiography, so I got to work on her book and expand like my skill set in that way as well. So that was very exciting.
Awesome. So you got, I mean, so it sounds like there was, super mutual getting you on your own there. And then very cool. You continue where you're trying to, reinvent and learn new things. What are some things like, I've seen, of course I get the emails, so I get to, read through and see, the things that you've been working on. Like, saw that there's been podcasts, I think Talkhouse Media is one that you represent. So as you've gone in and gotten to new things, like how does that compare to the music PR versus, doing it for something like a book or other elements?
It's similar enough, but there are just different nuances. Like for podcast press, there are a lot of newsletters, more so
Hmm.
than magazines and blogs, although there are some, for books. There are all kinds of different things, that you can do. And I feel like for books, there are a lot of specific podcasts that you can pitch that are different than the music podcast that you can pitch. And I'm
Yeah.
just like a lover of podcasts. So I'm always expanding that list. And, that's probably why we have worked together so much, because I just think it's
Yeah.
such a great platform for whether you're a big name or a small name. Like it just gives the person space to really tell their story in a way that I feel like traditional media has less and less of that space,
Certainly.
especially if you're a developing artist or a new author or something like that. So that has definitely been the difference. And I also was very lucky because the books that I've worked on most recently were Kathleen Hanna's book and then also Tori Amos's children's book.
Right.
And I've worked with their publishers who have PR teams in-house, and they've both been very lovely to work with and collaborate with. So through that, like I think I've helped them get to know music media outlets or specific contacts there, and then they've been open to sharing some of their book contacts. So yeah, it's just been really fun because the book contacts may need something different than I'm used to providing. So it's been cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And again, expanded the network is always good. And as
Yeah.
the your artists, they want to do a book, now they have an opportunity that you can always provide that service for them and to PR their book as well as continue to do their albums and their singles and everything they do currently. So
Yeah.
expanding their horizons.
I'm even working on a new, like, this is a newly announced thing that you probably saw, but, a journalist, a music journalist that I've worked with forever from her time at Stereogum and Spin, and she
Mhm.
writes for the LA Times and all these other amazing places. Rachel Brodsky, she was telling me a long time ago that she is writing a book about Stevie Nicks. And I am doing the press for it right now. And Stevie is not involved, but it's like this super interesting, unique take on a biography, the way that it's written. And I'm really excited because the media response has been super strong. And through my work with Kathleen and Tori, I'm now being able to kind of help promote a name who may be lesser known than those two, but the topic is
Yeah.
known, So hopefully that goes really well too. Fingers crossed.
I love it. I love it,
Yeah.
man. You're getting the Swiss Army knife of public, of publicity. Like, kind of take it. I like to break it down for folks. Obviously, who are just outside the space. They're just going to concerts. Like, that's a lot of our listeners, and I want them to understand, like, what is a PR firm? What does it do for the artist? As we've worked with so many. What are some services you're providing to a Kate Nash, to Family Stereo, who we just had on this week, right? Like, what are the things that when you meet with them at the first time, like, hey, here are the things that we're going to do together. Like, how do you lay that out for them to get them
Yeah.
comfortable and get them rolling?
The simplest way I put it, like when I first started in my career, my parents were like, what do you do? The
Yeah.
simplest way I put it is like, we're the people that have relationships with media. So we get articles written.
Hmm.
And like, without us sort of as a middleman that has those relationships, with the higher tier journalists or media outlets like Rolling Stone, New York Times, NPR. NPR is always where my parents are like, okay, now I
Oh yeah.
understand. We help keep up with what it is that they are doing and what they are looking to do in terms of coverage, whether it's their own podcasts or,
Hmm.
songs of the week columns or things like that, that they're, those change all the time, whatever their focus is. So they're really like, you're hiring me because I'm always keeping up on that and I know the right person to reach out
Yep.
to make those things happen. And then over the course of my career, the things that we do, the services that we provide have expanded, which
Hmm.
I feel like is typical in every job, in every
Yep.
role. Like you do the same job, but all of a sudden the things you have to do are much, much, much more. So, but it's been exciting because like there was a time when, back when I was explaining what I did to my parents 15 years ago or so, I was a new media publicist. But now there's no such thing as a new media publicist, like the web and print and everything are all the same. There aren't as many print magazines, there are very few. And it's also expanded into podcasts and Substacks and newsletters and all these different things. And of course, like TV bookings when appropriate. So, yeah, I just kind of go down the list of all of that kind of stuff. I think there are some PR firms that also do like well, we do a bit of it like they do potentially like playlisting, pitching.
Hmm.
A lot of media outlets have playlists that are weekly, updated weekly, monthly, daily that we're always pitching. And then, like YouTubers and stuff like that we'll do a bit of. But I don't typically do anything that's like a pay for play. And a lot of
Yeah.
times the things on YouTube or Instagram are that way. So that's usually a different company or a firm that might do something like that.
Interesting. Okay. So, you mentioned it, like, some of that stuff there, like, you've probably seen a lot of change. Like, how much different is how much of a challenge now is it to get somebody's name out there because there's a lot of the things you just mentioned, right? There's a ton of Substacks, ton of podcasts, tons of different, obviously the traditional and the more, nuanced media. Like, as a PR person, like, how do you stay up to date and how do you stay, kind of ahead of the things that are coming, you know?
I don't know a perfect answer to that.
Yeah.
I just think I can be annoyingly optimistic, and I just think that the more things that are out there, the better, especially for
Hmm.
developing artists. So, even though I was just kind of griping a little bit that you like have the same job, but the amount that you have to do is more and more, I'm like, yeah, but that just means that when I'm working with an artist that like Family Stereo, who you might not have heard of yet in the US, they're UK based, but they're amazing. All of a sudden, like there are so many different avenues that we can go in to like find the fans in the
Hmm.
US. So I love doing the Substacks. I love doing the podcasts. Like maybe Rolling Stone's not ready yet, or maybe they are, but you
Yeah.
know, maybe they'll listen to the podcast and get excited, or something like that. So in terms of staying ahead of things, that's where I count myself very lucky because I do have some incredible established artists on my roster. Um,
Hmm.
some of those will come to me, because I'm in constant conversation with like the New York Times pop culture editor or, the Rolling Stone editor. They'll fill me in as new things, like they're planning new things. And another wonderful thing is that there's a really great community of indie publicists. Like
Yeah.
we're not obviously to a certain extent we're competing with each other, but there's a lot of like contact sharing and information sharing, and I don't really feel like it's competitive in a very aggressive way, you know, like we want to help each other out and we want to keep each other abreast of everything. Sometimes I even co-work because now that I have my own company, I work from home. So sometimes I even co-work with like fellow publicists that work elsewhere, you know, and just
Yeah.
sit at a coffee shop and exchange ideas. And it's really nice and it's a really helpful way to stay up on that.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been, as I've been in contact with you, and I think people have seen our show. I mean, I get more, I'm on more email lists now. You know, Saxon Company has me on some email lists. I just got one from, somebody from Banana Split PR, right? Like, you know, it kind of, you know, so as that stuff, you know, there's definitely evidence of collaboration going on for sure,
I'm
you know,
glad.
amongst everything, which is great. Um, you know, I want to get into, you know, it seems like you have a theme with some of your clients, and it seems like punk music and that type of, you know, what gravitates you towards working with those folks versus, you know, and you work with everybody, obviously, but like you have a lot of people who are in that genre, and you know, you're obviously Kathleen Hanna and the people you've, you know, kind of came up with. So like when they were first going and getting started, and you know, what gravitated you towards that music specifically?
I think I was just an emo kid, an angry kid. I wasn't that angry, but you know, it was just something that was really important to me. I have this memory at one point when I was young. I remember I was driving in the car with my dad taking our dog to the vet, and I don't know why this was such a moment, but I
Yeah,
just remember being like I of course always was in control of the radio, so on any
sure.
car drive. So I just remember being like, wow, we've been in the car for like 20 minutes and I've not heard one female voice this entire time. And at
Yeah.
that moment, I started seeking it out. And I think, you know, I had my parents subscribe me to Bust magazine and Spin magazine. And at
Hmm.
that time, those were the artists that I found, and I was so thrilled. So it was like that, and of course Fiona Apple and Tori Amos and
Yeah.
Alanis Morissette and all of that. You know, if I could work with them all, I would love it. And then as I got a little bit older, I also discovered like Jenny Lewis and Rilo Kiley, and
Hmm.
I got into maybe it was like a little less punk, but still had that ethos to it. You
Hmm.
know, punk in sound, but still punk in ethos, I guess. Um, it was just really important to me. But I still grew up listening and loving like Green Day and, you know, the Sex Pistols and, you know, all
Yeah.
of that. So it was still punk and it didn't always have to be female voices, but I'll always remember that moment being like, this is questionable, like, or
Yeah.
questioning it, you know, like why? So, yeah.
And now you help get the word out and get more people, you know, listening to the female voices of punk. So I
Yeah,
mean, it's kind
it
of come
means
full
so much
circle.
to me. It means so much.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you've mentioned Tori Amos a few times. You know, obviously somebody who's, you know, been in it for a long time. And is she a newer client for you? Is she somebody you've had a relationship for a while? Have you been working through that? Like, how did that kind of come to be? You know, that relationship.
Yeah, it's not a new client to me. I've
Hmm.
been working with Tori. I actually can't remember the year, but it was Midwinter Graces was the first album that I worked. So I know it's been over 10 years, but I can't remember exactly. And that was something that came in through a coworker at Girly Action, and then we ended up collaborating. And then that coworker um, ended up leaving, and I ended up becoming the lead because at that point I was the
Hmm.
junior, and over time I graduated to becoming a senior publicist and a national publicist. So since then, you know, we've just been working together for a long time and we, you know, it was kind of nice. It was perfect timing. The move from girly action to starting charm school because there was some downtime. So it gave
Hmm.
me an opportunity to kind of like get my feet under me and make sure that everything was set and firm and good. And then there was this new record that just came out. So I was able to take it on and everybody felt super confident about it.
I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Well, one of the things, kind of going back to you, as you're working with emerging artists, that's a lot of the folks that we work with. There's some people who come on and they're like, "Hey, get me in Rolling Stone like today," and they're like, "Well, we need to we got some steps between you guys and Rolling Stone. Like, how do you temper somebody's expectations? As somebody who's obviously they're a representation and you have that relationship, but like, again, some people, have in their mind where they should be and when, maybe reality or where they are, they're going to build to that, but it's just not quite where they are. So like, how do you kind of handle those conversations?
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said before, I'm kind of annoyingly optimistic. And so I think what I always say is like, we're going to try. I'm definitely
Yeah.
like, for every single client I take on, I am bringing that music to the Rolling Stone editors.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be a publicist or person that makes any promises because until like, when somebody says Rolling Stone supports blah, 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 XYZ artist, that's a person at Rolling Stone that did it. And that person has opinions and ears and,
Hmm.
needs to listen and take in a story, find it interesting, find the music worth covering or moving or something like that. So yeah, every single artist that I work with is getting that. The guarantee of the
Yeah.
magazine or the blog or whoever podcast covering it is not there, but I'll
Yeah.
always do my best to get the feedback
Yeah.
and, keep sharing the next song. Maybe the next song hits, maybe the next song hits, maybe an interesting angle hits, So, that's the main thing. Like, I'm always just very honest. Like, yes, these people will be pitched. And if there's anything extra or exciting or a blog or an Instagrammer or even like if you have a hobby that's not music that you think you might be interested in talking about, I could do that research and find media outlets that might cover that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just that it's not guaranteed and I'm just going to do my very best.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. The ever optimist, I think, is the right way, and you're gonna go take swings. I think that's a good way to approach it.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's why also like it just sorry to cut you
oh,
off,
go
like
ahead.
in
Go ahead.
terms of taking swings, like I always appreciate it. Like no from my end, no email is left unanswered. Like there
Hmm.
can be very small blogs that reach out to me asking to speak with Kathleen Hanna or Tori
Yeah.
Amos. And, ultimately I know how much time they have available. And I know that a lot of times it has to be a no, but they're still going to get an answer from me because I
Yep.
appreciate that they're taking swings, right? It
Yeah.
goes both ways.
Believe me, I'm glad I took the swing on Latigre because we would have been.
Yeah.
It's definitely been the a great a great deal of like influx of music that I've been able to learn about, and kind of the ethos of our program is just helping to get a few more ears on some things that people don't know about, and like I think if nothing else, I'm listening to the stuff that you're sending over to me, and vice versa. So, um, you know, as you go into the end of this year and through it, like, what are some things that you're excited about? I saw that there is somebody else who is emailing me from Charm School Media now. So, did you hire an employee? Do we get some new folks underneath you?
Yeah, I have two people now working at Charm School, Aaron Wright and Talia Miller.
All
That's
right.
definitely a new thing. They're both, I don't know if it matters, but they're both technically freelance and they do have other
Hmm.
gigs, but potentially coming on full time, at least one of them. Um, and so yeah, that's definitely an exciting thing. What's coming up? That's a good question. Well, we have
Yeah.
L7 just announced their last ever world tour. So that's an exciting thing. We just announced the US leg of that, and that'll be this fall. Tori Amos is coming to tour the US following the new album. This new Australian artist, punk band, punk band called Body Type is coming, and they're actually on King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards record
Very cool.
label. They're amazing. So I'm really, really excited for that. I hope that they will come tour in the US. I'm not quite sure if that's going to happen quite yet. And yeah, and then like I mentioned before, we have a Montreal's album coming out next Friday. So that's really exciting. And then a tour. So it's busy.
I love it. Gotta stay
Yeah.
busy. Got all kinds of things that are in the hopper. I mean, um, well, obviously want to respect your time here. We'll get into the Pete Peterson party pack of questions, but last thing I want to ask, like for you, um, anybody you would just like, dream client, dream person that you would, whether new, old, dead, alive, any of those, like who would be somebody you would have killed to promote, in their heyday?
In their heyday, Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell.
Yeah. And then I guess like the more current version would be Jenny Lewis or Rilo
Very
Kiley.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And last thing, what's like your, I guess most, your favorite story, about kind of the things you work with and being able to kind of see things come full circle. Like what's something that is your favorite memory from working and being in this for so long?
I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that one. It's just been so long. I mean, I can talk about more recent things like,
Yeah.
doing yeah, like kind of running around with Tori Amos or Kathleen Hanna in New York on press days, doing photo shoots, taking them to like their TV spots, just kind of like being there with them and feeling the excitement, that
Yeah.
moment, when they're on and that their book or their album comes out like that day and this could lead to even more sales and even more excitement and even more bodies in the room when they do their reading or their first show to support the record. I just love that
Yeah.
feeling that like we're really doing something. We're really reaching people. Sorry, as I talk, I'm thinking I probably one of the most exciting things was when I initially way, way, way back in the day worked with the band Lucius.
Yeah.
And, it was before that was more of a common, like a household name. And I remember a cousin of mine who works in technology, he is not in the music world, told me that he had discovered this band Lucius because he saw them on NPR's Tiny Desk. And
Yeah.
I was like, no way, I'm reaching people. Like I'm helping
Yeah.
artists reach people. And that was pretty cool whenever those moments happen that it's somebody outside of music kind of realizing or finding them.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Lucius, another one of the white whales of this podcast as well. So we'll talk more off air about those people, though. We want to get more. Let's get into the Pete Peterson party pack of questions. 20 questions right in a row here. Sarah Avrin, cake or pie? Let's kick it off.
Pie,
She's pieing it up. All right, salad or soup?
salad,
All right, here we go. Sunrise or sunset? What are you seeing more of these days?
sunset,
Sunset. All right. Home run or a touchdown? What would you rather do?
home run, home
All
run,
right. Baseball. Let's go. All right. Night in or night out? What are you having more of?
night in.
Night in. All right. When you do go out and your jam comes on, you're more likely to hit the robot or the worm on the dance floor.
I guess the robot,
All right. All right. Guac or queso? Your favorite Tex-Mex spot?
queso,
Queso. All right. With cheese. Let's go. All right. Waffles or pancakes?
pancakes,
Pancakes. All right. Coffee or tea with your pancakes?
coffee,
Okay. Dogs or cats?
dogs.
All right. Do you like more identify with like a ninja or a pirate?
I guess a pirate.
All right. Okay. All right. Chips or pretzels?
Ooh, that's tough. I guess I'll go pretzels.
Pretzels. All right. That includes soft pretzels. People don't realize that. So
That's what I was
gotta keep
thinking.
those in mind. Gotta keep those in mind. Fries or tots?
Fries.
Okay. After a long day of, getting things done and getting people, that long day, like that you just mentioned, are you going to unwind with a TV show or a movie?
TV show.
TV show. Are aliens real?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. If you were a fruit, what kind of fruit would you be?
I would be a clementine.
Clementine. All right. Love it. All right. Is love at first sight real?
Sure.
Yeah. And finally, the Pete Peters Part Pack questions closer here. Give me two artists that we ought to check out that we might not know.
I can give, okay. There's a band that I was just introduced to and maybe we'll be working with soon named Twen, Twen. I My boyfriend was targeted by them on Instagram and we went to see them in LA and I was blown away. So, yeah, really, really love them. And is it okay that it's clients?
No. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because I would say Body Type is definitely the other one. Like you might
Body
not know
type.
them yet. They're from Australia. We're breaking into the U.S. I just think they're incredible.
All
Feminist
right.
punk.
Feminist punk from Australia, Body Type. And then we got Twen, whose apparently his Instagram ads are nailing it. So
They
let's
really
go.
are.
I love it. I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show and, being a great partner to us. And, hopefully, as we continue and you guys get more people and more folks coming to you, like we're happy to have them on and look forward to working more in the future together.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for all the support of all of my artists. It's been wonderful working with you. I'm excited to continue.
Of course. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.